Greetings, members one and all of the Salivation Nation. Welcome to $23 trillion and climbing in debt. That's right. That is the subject of today's video, and how you can beat the clock, the debt clock. Yes, this is something that most of us saw coming. It was just right around the corner, and now we have surpassed it. $23 trillion in debt and climbing every second of every day. And it's not only a bipartisan problem, it is a all points problem. In other words, by every measure in the United States, we are a debt-loving nation for sure. And it is quite crazy to see how much debt we have in the United States. In fact, if you look at this is the United States national debt, which is basically the debt that is held by the federal government, which obviously, you take into account, is from our tax dollars. So every taxpayer basically is incurred $186,576 in debt. And if you were to break it down per citizen, including those who don't pay taxes, even they owe based off of it, if you were going to spread it out evenly across every citizen in the United States. There's a lot of spending that happens. There's federal spending, and then the budget and what's happening there. There's deficit spending, which is the actual spending above what is allocated in the budget. And, with all that's going on, we live in a society where our government likes to spend. And both parties are involved. And any time there's any mention of any kind of cut or even a decrease in spending from the allocated, it is a big deal, or it raises a big fuss among the halls of Congress. Now, if you take a look here at unfunded debt and interest, we can see that we're paying a lot in interest. In fact, $13,000, almost $14,000 per adult. And the U.S. total debt, when you include private and public debt, is $74 trillion. So it's not just a problem with the federal government, although that is a huge problem, but they can print money. You and I, we cannot. And so when you take into account all those factors involved, per citizen, it's over $224,000 in debt per person. When you take all that into account, for sure. So there is that. We've got mortgage debt. We've got student loan debt, and we have credit card debt. And if you take into account the average around that credit card debt, which is probably one of the worst kinds of debt there is, that's over $6,600 per holder. But the average, I've heard, was a lot more, about $14,000 in debt for the credit card debt. Student loan debt has almost become a necessary evil this day and age. There's so much pressure to go to college, and there's so much waste in the public education system, in my view. And it's so I think it's overemphasized. Education is not what it used to be these days. There's more indoctrination, I think, than education. But then you have mortgage debt too. And the average, in the United States, the average mortgage is about $204,000 per individual, per mortgage, for each house out there, which is about right considering where that is. This is what's known as good debt. We obviously can't just fork over a bunch of money for a house, so we have to borrow to get it. We have to pay interest on that, and really there's nothing wrong with that, and it is tax deductible, so that's the good debt. But still, it would behoove us to pay extra on our mortgages each month so that we pay less interest. And I think most people that are savvy enough will do that. But the fact of the matter is that we are in a debt-driven society, unfortunately. And it's a shame it has to be that way, which is why the ideals of gold and silver are something that I think has kind of fallen flat on most of society, Western society these days. You and I, the most people that are watching this video, we are a step up because we are saving in gold and silver. You know, you can buy bars such as you see here, or you can get old coins. And some of these older coins, by the way, for the first time in quite a while, depending on the condition, you can get these for a relatively low price over the spot price. But gold and silver coins come in various different forms, but probably the most trusted way to accumulate them would be in government-issued bullion, such as you see here. That is the American Silver Eagles. They are the most popular, and it's a great way to save. And so if you're watching this video and you are concerned about where we're going as a nation and the amount of debt that is accumulated over so many years, that most of us agree will never be paid off in our lifetimes or in the lifetimes of our children, then there's a fear of how much we can really rely on the dollar. The dollar has survived a lot, and I think it's survived in some ways by the skin of its teeth because of the nature of other fiat currencies around the world. There's only so long that will last. Gold and silver are metals that have been around for millennia. That's right, well over thousands of years. And these metals have been around and have been used as money and currency. It's really only until recent history where they have not, especially silver, when some could argue that silver stopped being used completely as money and as currency up until the 1970s. So that's something to think about. You know, we're really in a part of history where, for the first time ever, the world is not using gold and silver as money. And it's because we have all these other things that are out there that we're relying on that are essentially baseless other than faith. Faith is big. Faith is huge. It's a powerful thing. There's something to be said for a fiat designation. When the United States government puts on their Federal Reserve notes, which is a private institution, that this note is legal tender for all debts, public and private, that says a lot. But you'll notice that what's written on these cash notes and these currencies, any note that you take out of your pocket, it's going to say debt on it. And so the bills themselves are debt instruments. Now, they're obviously used to pay down debt, and that's wise to do. But regardless, you know, the point is that we should all be striving to get out of debt. And one way to do that, I think, is to not only to accumulate cash, which I think is a good idea to do, to save, to have a savings account, to have money set aside, and to pay down our debts, but to also have something to protect us from the falling dollar, because the dollar does fall every year. What do I mean by that? Well, the dollar, by design, is inflated at least 2% each year. That is the target inflation rate of the Federal Reserve. You know, when the Federal Reserve lowers and raises interest rates, they do that to help steer the economy to a certain direction. And so this is something that we have seen time and time again. And if you look at what's known as an inflation calculator, you can put in any 2 years and you can see how much the dollar has lost by the calculations of economists and official boards that measure these things, the inflation rate. And that is something that is quite telling. You know, a dollar today is not what a dollar was 20 or 50 years ago. But gold and silver, for the most part, they are the same. They may take different forms. There's a lot of different ways to accumulate gold and silver, but the intrinsic value that is contained in these bars of the gold and the silver, well, they actually are something that is inflation proof. for the most part. There are times when they go a little bit above or below. Silver is known especially to do that because silver is used as a commodity, more so nowadays than being seen as a hedge against economic instability, a savings. But make no mistake, it really still is money, and it still is a form of savings. And so when you are faced with a government and a society that is based off of all of this red that you see here, these are deficits. This is all of the ways that people and government itself waste money and spend beyond their means. When you accumulate gold and silver, you are preserving your wealth. You are essentially holding these metals in your hand, and you have something. You have assets, hard assets, and these assets are beautiful in the variety of the different designs and styles, but they also do, in the long run, will protect and preserve your wealth. So I encourage you, if you've not given it any thought before, with a debt increasing to over $23 trillion now, it might be a good time to consider to save money, to pay down your debts, and to take some of your income and put it towards gold and silver, precious metals. And I would recommend getting coins, government-recognized coins, such as the United States Silver Eagles, Gold Eagles, the Royal Canadian Mint Maple Leafs, the Britannias, which are made in the United Kingdom, and then there's also other varying different styles that are highly recognized out there. It is a way to protect your wealth. It is a way to appreciate the beauty of the metals that have been used as money since the Roman Empire and before. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Post your thoughts below about the rising debt and about your thoughts about precious metals. Because precious metals, no matter what happens with our money supply, there is no way that gold and silver will ever be obsolete again, no matter what kind of technological advances are made in the future. So I hope you found this video useful. I'd like to extend a multitude of gratitude to y'all for watching, and encourage you to please rate, share, comment, and subscribe.